This is your weekend market review for Friday, October 25th, 2024. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market review for Friday, October 25th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a great week. Interesting week to say the least at the close, especially as we talked about that there's geopolitical risk. It looks like after going into the weekend, not surprised by some of the headlines and then confirming after hours more potential geopolitical risk. However, we know going into next week, if you do check this out, follow, you know that we will talk about that. There's tons of data next week. You have the biggest earnings week potentially, not potentially, of the October season. I personally think next week again. I thought this week would be a little choppy, got some chop, closed nearer the highs, but man, it feels very ominous. And this is what's so hard about the markets at times is, right, is you can kind of anticipate things, but there's nothing certain out there, right? Like, as we can tell, and we've told, if you go look at the economic data, it's getting worse. It's getting a lot worse. It's dropping quickly. You got the election. A lot of people are pausing, freezing, trying to figure out what's going to happen. And then who wins? What happens when who wins? And again, what we talked about in the Discord room, they want to pass on. Whoever is getting the next wave of the economy after this election is going to have to really make some hard decisions about spending and debt. And honestly, sometimes, again, this is me just thinking out loud, is it best to create these geopolitical issues going into the election so that if needed, the election doesn't necessarily have to happen? They're like, whoa, what does that mean? It's like, well, again, they can call some sort of emergency order saying if we got things geopolitically, it's best to not have an election. And again, that's just me thinking out loud. And I don't know, man. Whether you like DT or not, the odds right now are him 92% winning. So that's basically a lock. So whether you like him or not, that's the evidence. So if you have questions about the markets, economy, looking to invest in real estate, stocks, buy and sell, again, we're seeing economic weakness. The housing market's slowing pretty quickly. Do not hesitate to reach out. You get 2 agents for the price of 1 if you reach out and want to use my services. And when I say my services, and is referring out agents, again, if you go to ZillowRealtor.com, they're just going to put you in touch with an agent that pays for the contract. Where it's a standard, not standard. I hate to say the word standard. It's not. It's, again, there will be some sort of referral agreement where I will find you the best freaking agent in your area for the goals you have and vet them personally. And again, when you start doing deals, I'm involved to get 2 for 1. So follow, like, subscribe, Twitter, YouTube, hit the notification bell, get alerts, check out the website, tradingagent.com. A lot of resources, insights here. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, let me know. I can help. A lot of activity going on, ultimately worth taking the time maybe to reach out. Zoom link, 30 minutes, check my schedule, let's chat. Okay, now again, if you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out. Always here, right? Like I said, that's the thing. Talk to a lot of folks off and on, and it's just a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoy connecting with people who follow this channel. And if you haven't reached out before, do it. What are you waiting for? All right, we know Fed next meeting, it's pretty much one cut. That's kind of what's expected. November 7th. It's not next Wednesday. It's the following Wednesday. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin, come on, chopping around. I've said this, and I'm people get mad when I say this. Like, I personally think Bitcoin is probably going to get stuck until it's not. And you're like, well, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean, brah? Well, again, I think it's just in this big range until it's not. And so you can overthink it and think that it's going to happen next week, next month. It's just chopping until it's not. Oil caught the bid at the close. Not surprised. Geopolitical risk. Everyone heard it. We'll see what happens after on a Monday. We'll see. Natural gas, as we talked about, being oversold. Seeing some interesting option stuff. Talking to some of the gents in the Discord room, J Souls especially, talking about this, like some of the coal names catching some interesting bids. If coal is catching bids, then natural gas is going to start flying soon. Just that's my 2 cents on that. Preference to talk about. Dollars, we talked about holding up extremely well. Why? Something doesn't make sense, right? Look at this straight line move. Someone knows something. TLT. I talked about bonds. Said this today when posted, like, you need to get over 93. Didn't. All right, well, it doesn't really look good. Stopped out of all long bond positions. Again, we talked about taking profits here, hedging. A lot of people did. High fives to you guys. Appreciate the shout outs. I mean, I know for a fact that we talked about how like the market was pricing it in before the Fed meeting, and then what, pulls back. I mean, pulling back more than I thought. And so it's like, all right, well, I'll just stop out of the position. I think there's better trades out there. Why not go for them? VIX, talking about holding up really, really well. 18 area. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Vivix talked about this one bottoming first. Mm-hmm. Looking like it. SPY was up pretty solidly at one point today, right? Up 4 or 5 points. Gives it all back. 20 days key, right? These 575, really important. Qs, which led up. Man, look at that wick. Talked about this today. Like, what will happen? Thought it would be a, sell the kind of news. And whatever the news being, just like that pop up. IWM, same kind of thing. Can't catch a bid. Something doesn't make sense. October's usually when IWM rips. It's not. DIA, same kind of thing. Like, just not looking good. Your guess is good as mine. I mean, again, I personally think there's more downside risk. Gold chopping, holding up pretty well. Got to give it credit where credit's due. Holding up. Again, I personally, long term, no doubt, gold, silver, miner is going to be higher. It's just near term. These could get sloppy, wide and loose and sloppy. Come on, silver. Hi-yo, silver way. Again, we talked about holding 30 in the Discord room. So far it is. GDX miners, they've been on fire, but look what happened. I don't like this action because miners will lead. They don't look good. GDXJ, same thing. I mean, it shouldn't be leading down. We'll see what happens. AEM has earnings next week on Thursday, especially if you're talking about earnings. We'll get them. I mean, there's a lot of names that have earnings next week. Back of the range highs, chopping around. AG broke the downtrend, right? You zoom out. Now it's just chopping around. High and tight is okay. Near term is, your guess is good as mine. You get over 8, needs to hold 750. I mean, it could chop around, but I also wouldn't, again, don't be surprised. Like Newmont, look at Newmont, y'all. 84% earnings growth. Should be probably in the 70s. Look what its earnings reaction is. Again, Tesla's not making barely any growth. Goes up 20%. This thing is crushing it. Down. Man, this is almost 10% off the highs. The market sometimes doesn't make sense. Pass. Holding up. Got to give it credit. I mean, again, looks okay. Let's get into tech. This is where it gets interesting, right? Taiwan Semi was up 5 points today, right? Okay. We'll see what happens here. I mean, again, we talk about the first dips typically get bought 20-day or the 8-day. Okay. Just watching. Macron. Chopping around. Looks again. I mean, I think SMH is the easiest short. I mean, we were adding Soxus today. Got it at 1940. Not too bad. Was that 2020? 2020. AMD, big wedge. Again, another name that has earnings next week. I mean, Tuesday you have DR Horton, Pfizer. After the close, AMD, Chipotle for Solar, Visa. Wednesday, Caterpillar. For CF after, Roblox Thursday morning. AEM, Amazon, Apple after the close. I don't know. Those are the ones that I pay attention to. NVIDIA, if you didn't know, now you know. Look at this, $3 trillion company. Okay. Okay. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't think it holds up. I think it's bigger bubble than Cisco in the 2000s, but I mean, time will tell. That's what makes it so hard. It's like, what day? What day does it all start? I don't know. MicroStrategy holding the 50-day. I mean, this is a compressing monster here. It could either rip up because of the huge short interest, or this thing could get bombed because of DOJ issues, right? SEC. Intel pops, gives it all back. SMH, same kind of thing. Pops, gives a lot of it back. Just be careful. I'm telling you. Chop can be frustrating. That's why you got to wait for the extremes. Don't chase. Adobe, nope. Apple, held the 20-day, right? Look at it, it's chopping around. Earnings next week. Amazon, same thing. Earnings next week. Can't get over the 190s. Keep an eye on it. Meta, pulling back, chopping. 20 days, really important there. CRM, as you can tell, chopping around. Looked like it was going to break out again. Gave it all back. Google, finally. I mean, some people, again, it's interesting to see, like, finally meaning, like, okay, Can you get over 167? Every time it gets there, seems to be like there's a roof over it. It's a really good reference to short trade it. And at some point, if it breaks, great. If it doesn't, then it's again easy stop. Microsoft hits the range of lows, bounces. This one's tough, right? Like it's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. It's the top of the VAP zone. I mean, look at it. You trap and give it all back. I mean, as far as so far, it's so good. It's holding. That's all I could give credit for. NDAQ, again, I think this is the easiest short long term. Again, technology will not be the leader. It'll be materials. Again, who wins the trade war? It's not tech. It's the bullets, the inputs. That's who wins the tech war. MicroStrategy. Look at today's action. Dojis. What do we know about dojis, right? They're either inflection points or they're sandwiches. And when they're sandwiches, you should follow up. And if it doesn't, be careful. This could be a top. That's all I really can say. Netflix, we talked about the 3-day rule on this one. Popped on earnings you got within it. Okay, look at again, today popped up, gave it all back. Pedoblocks has earnings on Thursday. Keep an eye on it. PanW, talked about this one faking the breakout. Can't get over the old all-time highs. Give it up. Tesla, this one pisses me off. Because again, I mean, not like pisses me off, but gotten. Again, not a lot of, I've had some bad luck, I feel like. But that's part of trading. You're not always going to be winning. Talk about selling some calls out of money. Just like, all right, well, I'd like to buy puts, but you can't. I mean, I'm just like, what? Find me an inflection point. So again, probably going to take the L. It doesn't really make sense to take that because again, sold out of the money calls. Man, it's a hard trade, right? Didn't do a ton of them, so I'm not sitting here like crying too bad, but was hoping to like really nail something here. No, not so far. Again, I mean, whether you're bullish or bearish, it's not about an Elon. It's just trading the range, trading the growth. I mean, again, 7% growth, trading 120 times next year's earnings. Okay, we'll see how long that can sustain. Insight, like this one getting bopped out. Palantir held the 8-10 day. Look at that, made a new high. I mean, that thing's been strong. Got to give it credit. I mean, that might be one of the easier trades to play up. McDonald's, E. coli issues. Trump stops by. Earnings coming. Be careful. All right. Or did they have earnings? I can't remember. McDonald's, just again, you trade the headlines. Don't be surprised you get burned. DKNG, again, we talked about this one popping up, giving it back. Airbnb, trash floats last. Keep it simple, stupid. Right? Seems to be chopping. Costco, which has been on fire, right? But it seems to be stuck now. And as we talked about, either it's going to consolidate to rebuild or it's topping. Starbucks, kitchen sink the quarter. Look what happened. Pop back. Again, it's in a big choppy range. I would just personally lay off of it until it breaks over. The top of the range was around 100. FedEx, look at this, right? Gaps up yesterday. Man, this is a tough one. I mean, I was really hoping for the trend line, so it didn't do nothing, but I'm watching them. Caterpillar, again, global growth. These names, I don't see the growth, but I do long term know that they'll need more mining equipment, all that kind of crap. Just watch these ranges. Again, it's interesting because here's like DE, deer holding up. Come on, fast, up, dude. Can't get over the range highs, backing off, chopping around. Keep an eye on it. But this is like the example of something like being careful. Like, look at Nucor. I mean, they guided terribly, right? Like, that's the nature of the beast. Like, materials are going to struggle with economic growth slowing. I mean, I like this in the 20s. Talked about VALE. I mean, if all the bricks get together, this one kind of popped today, decent volume. Okay, 100 days has been kind of crucial. It's just, I mean, long term, this is what I would say. If you bought VALE around 10 long term, you're probably going to be fine. Arrow, we like copper holding the 200 day, but not yet. CCJ, again, everything was priced in near term. Not surprised it's pulling back. I don't really like the look of that. But again, if you have a 3-day range, looks like 52 something, 52s. If it holds, looks good. CF has earnings next week. Again, ag names look interesting to me long term because, again, I think we have to eat. And they've been absolutely pummeled. NTR, chop, 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 chop. AA, sorry, I didn't even show it. It's just chopping. AA, again, we like aluminum long term, really do. Want to see this kind of just play the game of chopping around. XLF, another one that did not make sense today. All day it was lagging. Saying to the folks, I'm like, something's not right. Pause. What do you mean something's not right? Look at it. Broke the 8 and 10 day. Closed below. JP Morgan. They're not buying back their stock. Why would you buy it? We'll see. Morgan Stanley has a nice trap up, looks like. Keep an eye on it. Fills the gap. I mean, all these names look really tenuous. Bank of America, Buffett can't sell this fast enough. Looks like a high there. Goldman Sachs, right? Look at this blowout. Gives it back. Carry. Hey, it's going to break out. Nope, just hits the trend line, fails. XBI, another global growth name, or not global, but an indicator of like growth, like stock market, like risk on, it's going nowhere. Jets, it's getting a little interesting. You got a 2-day range here. And I personally think that it makes sense to me that they get beaten. XHB, again, we talked about housing index. Look at this. Oops. Oopsies. I mean, underlying fundamentals in the market do not look strong. Solar, which has been absolutely just beaten, gets a nice bounce today. Sedge, this got to 15. You're welcome. Freaking welcome. Told you it's going to 15. Now what? I don't know. ENPH. This, again, I'm not a fan of it. I've heard their technology is kind of sketch. I mean, their batteries aren't that great, and all their whatever they, I mean, not whatever, the things that they do, not great. But as we talked about, are you surprised it's holding? No, of course. This thing's gotten beaten. It was at 315. First Solar, earnings next week. Be careful. Tuesday after the close has been absolutely throttled from 260 down to 195. Keep an eye on it. HYG, you got to be high out of your mind to be buying corporate debt. I'm talking about like, talking about like Friday. USO, oils, we talked about popping, chopping. Keep an eye on it. UNG, not a fan of this product, but as we talked about, due to bounce. KLD, if you took your profits in the 50s and then you, I mean, again, anything up near the highs makes sense. There's a range. I mean, I prefer to see 80s. XOP, as we talked about, it's tough to trust. It's tough to trust. Well, if you could see the chart. Wow, there you go. Not saying long term, I don't like it. I'm just saying right near term. You're going to have to play the game. CVE, 16 area seems to be holding. Don't really know what to say other than that. Just watch it. I mean, if it gets lower, that would be the gift. Valero, these gasoline names, they seem, again, they lead down. They don't look good, right? They're near the range lows. MPC making new lows. Yikes. ExxonMobil, this name is showing you strength long term. Seems to be holding up really darn well. Keep an eye on it. Occidental, chopping around the highs. Oh, sorry, the lows. I mean, Buffett is just, I mean, Buffett's got the freaking Hoover on. Just sucking shares in probably quietly, selling calls and puts. EQT, again, we like natural gas long-term. We'll be exporters, in my opinion, right? Big chop zone. And then last but not least, Flex LNG, just chopping around. So be careful next week, right? Let's wrap it up. You've got major economic data, GDP Wednesday. You got durable orders. PCE, personal income, personal spending on Thursday. You have the jobs numbers on Friday. You've got big earnings. It's going to be interesting. And what's been leading up? Gold, what's been heading down? Bonds, tech, chopping. Beware of the streams. Again, I'm personally thinking that there's some sort of black swan event coming. Something doesn't make sense here. Somebody knows something. People continue to buy the VIX as the market chops around. And there's some definitely lagging action in it. So if you're not sure, it's okay to be on the sidelines. Go fishing. Go trick or treat and take it easy. Relax. Don't overthink this. And if you have levels and you have trades, okay, manage them. But if you're not sure, it's okay to go to cash. It's okay to just pause, take a break, relax, and let the market come to you. I appreciate everyone. Have a great weekend. I know there's some Halloween parties this weekend. Be safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the Discord room.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.